I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and due to the current PlayStation boycott, now is as good a time as any to make this video. For anyone who is unaware of why the boycott is happening, but is also somehow watching a video online from a new YouTube channel, first of all, thank you. Let me know what you guys think, like, comment, and subscribe, but I'll dive into it right away here. The reason for the boycott is because of Sony's removal of physical media, removal of storefronts, removal of physical discs going forward. That corporate greed that they're displaying publicly, unabashedly, and are not currently, as of now, backing down from. That is why the boycott is happening. To take away a customer's option of purchasing a good or a service is always going to be negative. It will never be positive because it takes away competition, it takes away variety, it takes away options that the customer had before, especially if they had a really good option before. And the idea that, 85% of digital of sales for Sony are digital is, as far as I can tell, not fully accurate, even according to their own data. One, the physical disc version of the PlayStation 5 is sold way more than the digital version, even though the digital version is cheaper, because most customers know that if there is a game that they don't care too much about, or if there is a game that they are willing to wait for, or if they already have a bunch of games in physical versions that are PS4, they can continue and play it on the PS5. They paid that extra $50 or $60 or more for that physical version. On top of that, Sony's own sales, and I'm going to use the Insomniac leaks as the example currently, their first party games, meaning, Ratchet and Clank, Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Demon's Souls, God of War, Returnal, Ghost of Tsushima, these amazing games all have the physical sales, for the most part, way above or slightly above the digital one. For example, Death Stranding, 60% to 40%. Physical to digital. Horizon Zero Dawn, 70% to 30%. Ratchet and Clank 2016, 80% to 20%. There are games on there that are 50-50. God of War 2018 is showing as 50-50 from the Insomniac leaks. So their public display of articles and articles and articles saying more people are buying digital feels like they're just trying to pull the rug and create a narrative that doesn't exist currently, basically to create a scarcity on what the gamers want, what the customers want. But if all their sales are showing a trajectory of more physical than digital, why would they still try to get rid of that many customers? And as far as I can tell, the reason is this: they make way more on digital sales than physical. And I'm not the only person saying this. There are already other articles talking about the difference in sales and revenues on a digital game versus a physical game. On a physical disc that is $70, they could make anywhere between $41 to $51 between the shipping and manufacturing and then the retail brick and mortar share, their cut for holding on to that physical disc for them. On a digital game, that same $70, they can make closer to $68 because there is no shipping. All they're paying for is their own CDN, their own network to host the download of the game. Let's give Sony the benefit of the doubt here and say their number is actually closer to 50-50 on first party games, physical versus digital. And let's go a step further and say on that $70 game, it between manufacturing and the brick and mortar, it costs them $20 on that end. So of that $70 game, they're getting back 50 per game sold at 10 million units. And I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers here. At 10 million units, which is easy for a first party Sony game, split at that 50-50, they're making about 590 million. To then cut off half of those sales, they need to guarantee themselves at least half of the physical media enjoyers to switch to digital. And to be fair, there might be a decent amount of them that do. But I'd like to believe that if you're again watching this obscure YouTube channel on their first video, you are not one of those people. So now you're part of the boycott and you're wondering what you should do to make sure your voice is heard or do something meaningful on your end, meaningful to you, because that's kind of all that matters. You vote with your own wallet. What I would recommend is disconnect your PlayStation from the internet, turn off updates, play games from your backlog that don't require internet connection. To be fair, that's what I'm doing. I played through God of War 1 for the first time. I thought I played it as a kid. I didn't. I'm playing through Ninja Gaiden right now. I played through Heretic, one of the first PC games I've ever played, I don't know, 25, 26 years ago. Man, I was like 4 years old, 5 years old. I should not have been playing that game at that age. What some other people are doing, which it's their PlayStation, they can do with it what they want. They've sold it. They sold it along with their games and used that funding to purchase a PC used, because you can still get some decent hardware for the price of a PlayStation 5. It won't be everything, but you save up something, use the money you get from the PlayStation 5, and you can get something that plays 1080p, 60 frames, or even 100 frames depending on the game with that money. What some other people are doing is disconnecting their PlayStation from the internet, turning off updates, and waiting for a jailbreak to be available. I know there were some videos I saw where they talked about finding a jailbreak option for certain updates, and that gives you basically a PlayStation that you can play those PC games on. You can have a PlayStation at that point that plays from PS1 to PS5 games fully offline, or online for the emulation part. What you do with your PlayStation is your business. What you do with your games is your business. You bought those games, you should be able to do what you want with them. I'm not gonna sit here and say you should fully switch to PC, because you might not be able to switch to PC currently. Or you might like the feeling of playing, sitting on the couch and playing that way. The entire point of this video is advocating for variety, for choice, for being able to do what you want to do with the hardware and software you purchase. I originally made a video substantially longer than this one, about 25 minutes. I recorded it a couple of weeks ago, regarding more details on Sony's actions and why they're bad and potential worst case scenarios. I thought against uploading that one. It felt not good in terms of the quality that I wanted, even though this also feels like not good for the quality that I want it to be. But I figured just get it done. You'll improve on quality with more practice. Let me know if you guys want to see that one. Again, I want to thank you all for listening. Let me know what you think about the boycott. Let me know what you think about PlayStation's actions. If you think that the boycott doesn't matter because it has an end date, let me know that. Maybe you'll continue the boycott after the end date. I'll add this as a finality to this video here. The people's voice, it matters here. We have seen Sony back down multiple times from bad actions due to people turning off their internet, turning off their subscriptions, playing other games. Uh, they listen. It takes time, but they listen. Hopefully, this is one of those moments. I'll leave it at that. Take care.